Things rocking and rolling.
Sound check, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Alright, excellent connection. Alrighty, let's start the countdown. Well,
Recording in progress.
We go. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, welcome,
Hello, everybody.
welcome.
Hi.
It's great to be here. We're so happy to be here on the last Wednesday of every month. How are you doing today, Paul?
Doing great. How are you, John?
And thank you in the back, Mike. I'm doing great. We're happy to be here, but we're missing someone. You might be wondering, where's Tess? Well, Tess has moved on, and she's found a new position at another company, and she's sadly left us, but she will always be in our hearts here. We miss you, Tess. This one's for you. We're giving this a big shout out for Tess today. We're going to miss her moving forward, right, Paul, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, Tess, wherever you are, hopefully you're watching us. You can't get away from us. We'll follow you wherever you go on these virtual live streams. Well, we've got a big show today. We're talking about our Hive Studio, our great remote camera control platform. And now we're going to have Hive-Linked firmware beta coming very soon this week. So you will be able to take your cameras remotely and set them up without a local computer anywhere, and then control them all in your Hive. We also have a special guest today. Joining us is Anton from Mr. Net. They make some really cool devices for network management and remote network management. It goes perfect with Hive-Linked. We also are going to give a big shout out, as always, to our wonderful support team. They actually just won a Stellar Service Award for being just the stellar support team that they are. Thank you so much. I constantly hear from people that I speak to week about how great you guys are. And we can't thank you enough. They're always there. They're a great domestic support team. We can't thank you so much for being the best team. So good that you won an award. Alrighty, we are going to be in Infocom in June. You can go to our booth 4120 if you want to see PTZOptics in action. You can even see Hive Studio in action at our booth. So go to booth 4120. And if you're in the Orlando area, we'll be there at Infocom. So take a look for us. And we've got one more and then another one. So we have two more. Don't forget to update your firmware. You can go to ptzoptics.com/firmware to find the latest firmware, or you can go into your web interface under the advanced settings and update your firmware. And then, of course, at the end of every show, we give away a little something to you guys that are here watching. This time, we're giving away a license for Hive Studio. So stay to the end where we'll do a fun little game, and that's when we'll give you access to Hive. Alrighty, and as we always do, if you are interested in getting a Hive subscription, go and scan that QR code, and you can get a chance to enter into the game. It's a fun little 10-question game that we do at the very end of the show. Alrighty, something we do on every show here is what we call Share Your Vision. So a lot of you out there are using our cameras and our products, and we love to see what you guys are using them for. There's so many different use cases for PTZOptics camera and controllers. So if you are using one of our cameras, use hashtag #ShareYourVision and show us exactly how you're using one of our controllers, one of our cameras, and the unique environment that you are using it. So today I met this week and a couple weeks ago with Fred Martin out of Kenya, and he was showing me a great setup that he made for a radio station. He helped install a bunch of different PTZOptics cameras, and they're using Hive to manage their radio station remotely. So let's take a look at that short little video, and you can see how they're using it in Africa.
I'm going to give you the most advanced PTZ cameras, which have a Hive system that can be controlled remotely, which you will not get anywhere in any camera. So now, definitely, it will be like, really? You can control this camera? Because no one has thought that PTZ camera, even me when I got to know, when I checked, because I received notifications, and I'm like, hold on, so you can control cameras without actually having to be in the studio. That is actually when I picked it and said, you know what, I need to reach out, because this Hive thing, I was been seeing it, but this caught my attention. On top of that, I can still install Hive on a PC on ground and still run those cameras on my laptop at the studio.
Yeah.
If I have Hive. Now, if I buy the 4K cameras, it means I don't need a laptop. I just need to make sure they are on the internet, on maybe a small switch on the ground.
Yeah.
And if it's a PTP, if it's a PTP, it's a PoE switch, it's going to pass, it's going to power those cameras. I don't need to have extensions all over. I just need one. Secondly, I put internet on that switch, which is probably can be mobile data internet, which has a network, which is is cable onto that small switch. And then I'm able to control these cameras without needing to install a software on the other side and run them whatever way and move them. I tell the guys, just place them there and move away. Let me do the rest. That is already a win sale.
Yep.
Why? Because you're trying to show what has not been. One, you're trying to show them, forget what you're thinking about PTZ cameras. I'm showing you how these cameras actually working.
Thank you so much, Fred. That was pretty cool, right? In the radio station across the whole country. Yeah. So he's waiting so much for Hive-Linked. So it's time to talk about our Hive-Linked firmware. Paul, tell us all about it.
Awesome. Cannot wait to share the process. It makes it so easy. So I have a little presentation to share, and then we're going to jump right into this. So I'm assuming that most of you know what Hive is at this point. I'm going to share my screen just to give a high level. Hive is our brand new PTZ camera control solution. And I'll just share my screen here so you can see that we have the ability to control these cameras. They could be anywhere in the world. So I have a couple different studios here. One is a studio I'll just jump into with the cameras on the local area network. And with this studio, we have roughly 6, I think, cameras in the studio.
Yep.
And I'm happy to invite anyone into the studio so they can kind of control and see how this works. But you can see here, you can control all these cameras. But the beauty is you can share a link with anyone in the world. So once you have Hive set up, you can now control your PTZ cameras from anywhere in the world. And you can see a lot of different people have been invited. If you send me an email at paul@ptzoptics.com, I'm happy to invite you to give this a try. But today what we're going to do is we're actually going to link a PTZOptics camera directly to Hive without the need for a bridge. And a bridge is essentially a computer. So you can have multiple bridges connected to one Hive studio. So you could have a studio in New York and a studio in Los Angeles and studios in different places and connect them all to create a central studio. It's very, very flexible. You can see I just have one bridge connected to this studio. But in my Hive-Linked studio, these cameras are connected directly to Hive through the public internet. So there's no computer connected to these. There's no bridge here. I could add a bridge because you can add as many bridges as you want to any studio, but these cameras are actually connected directly over the public internet. And so I'm going to take you guys through the process of that. And the way I'm going to start that is I'm actually going to unlink this Move 4K just to kick that off. So I'm going to unlink it from the studio because I'm going to go through the process of fully linking it. And then I'll show you guys how flexible and easy that will be once we link it all up. Okay, so that's what Hive is. It's a very flexible, easy software to use. It's free for just one camera. So I really recommend if you have a PTZ camera of any kind, whether it's PTZOptics, Sony, or Panasonic, we support a lot of different cameras, and I implore you to give it a try. So we work with Ada, Aver, Bird Dog, Bolin. Over 400 PTZ cameras can be connected to this software, but only PTZOptics cameras can be Hive-Linked, and you can see the difference here, right? We can support Lumens and Marshall and NewTek, but we have to have the bridge running on a computer. And then we can send it to the cloud, and you can control all those cameras. In fact, we're working with reality TV shows that have already purchased hundreds of Sony cameras. That's okay. We can connect to them using a computer. But the nice thing about having a Hive-Linked camera is if you want to just send a camera out and plug in audio to the line-in input, for example, you can do that, and you don't need to manage all of these different computers, and it really reduces the setup. So it really makes it a true plug-and-play scenario. So I want to look at a couple different examples here. One of the really powerful things about Hive is you can have multiple people connected to your Hive studio. So once it's connected, you can have a producer in a different state or country. You can have a camera operator in a different space, and you can even have someone looking at the audio. So if you're a school or an organization that has multiple classrooms or multiple studios, you now have one central place to manage all of those. Now in Studio 1 and Studio 2, you can see we have a computer, but in Studio 3, we do not have a computer. And that's what we're going to demonstrate today, doing this all without a computer directly through the cameras. So there's a big difference between having a computer that works with almost any PTZ camera and a Hive-Linked camera that's going to connect directly to the computer. So that's what I want to show today. And in order to do that, I'm going to pull up a PTZOptics camera. So this is a Move 4K camera. Currently, we will be releasing this firmware on our beta Discord server. So you do need to join the PTZOptics beta software group, which you can do at ptzoptics.com/beta-testing. And this is where you can sign up to get started and get into the beta testing in order to get this firmware. Once you have the firmware, you can log into your camera and update the firmware. That's a very easy process. You just go to the system settings and you upload the new firmware that you will receive to get the Hive linked. Once your firmware is updated, what you'll notice is there's a Hive Studio section now. So this Hive Studio section over here is the link that we're going to be focusing on today. And that is where we can link the camera directly to any studio that your account has access to. Okay, so what you'll see here is this is my Hive account, right? And all the studios I have access to are over here. So like there's a interesting studio called the Double Header World that
the best studio.
Is a fun studio to check out. This let's take a peek at the studio really quickly. You can see here that it's actually this is in Maryland in the United States, and there's actually a turtle in here.
Where is he?
Let's see if we can find him.
Where is he hiding?
We may be able to find him. We might not. He might be hiding under one of the rocks or something.
He's a special turtle too.
It's a very special turtle, but I think
Oh no, he's
we
hiding.
might not be able to find him. But I just wanted to give an example here of how you can have all these different studios connected from all over the world, right? So not exactly sure where the turtle is today, but that was an example of jumping in from one studio. Now this studio is in a different organization, but I've been given administrative rights to that organization. And then I have other studios, okay? The reason why I'm showing this is because I want to show you that when we Hive link the camera, it's going to ask me to log into my account, and then it's going to give me access to link this camera to any studio that I have access to. So we'll go ahead and click Link Device. And what that does is it just goes ahead and it connects to your account. It says, okay, my account is paul.richards@ptzoptics.com. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. I'm going to choose the PTZOptics organization, and I'm going to choose the studio that I want to link this camera to. And that's going to be my Hive Link studio. Click Continue. It's going to ask you for the username and password of the camera. for security purposes. And as soon as it validates that, boom, it literally is going to jump right into the studio in a web browser and connect. So this is the camera that I just connected, okay? We actually have 2 cameras connected to the Hive Studio in 2 different ways. It's kind of interesting. This camera here, which is right on my desk in front of me, this camera is connected to the public internet through an Ethernet connection on our local area network. Then I have another camera over here, this one right here, that's connected in a different way. This camera is connected through a cellular modem. So this camera right here, and thank you, Mike, for showing a picture-in-picture of this. This camera is a Link 4K camera, and this camera is actually connected over this cellular modem right here. So that is really interesting. This camera I am controlling through the public internet through cellular connectivity.
That's nuts.
And so I wanted to set this up outside actually to show, but it's raining today, so I wasn't able to do that. But this right here is a cellular modem that the camera's plugged into. It has 3 SIM cards in it. And we can see here that I'm sending roughly 4,000 kilobits per second, so 4 megabits. So you can connect at different bit rates and different speeds, but this cellular modem gives us roughly 10 megabits of upload speed. So very interesting on how that can be set up. Now, if you want to unlink the cameras, all you have to do is click the unlink device, and then essentially you can link it to a new studio. It can only be linked to one studio at a time. But what this allows us to do now is to go ahead and unplug this camera and take it anywhere in the world and plug it in. And as soon as it's plugged in, it will have the ability to be controlled remotely. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and unplug this, plug it in on the far end. We have a spot set up on another network. I'm going to unplug this camera right in front of me, and we're going to go ahead and plug it in a different place and then show you. It takes about 60 seconds for it to boot up, and then we'll control it immediately through the public internet. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be fun. All right, John, you ready?
I think it's time.
All right,
Let's do it.
let's do it. Let's unplug it. Here you go.
Pass the baton off.
Already Hive-Linked to our studio, so as soon as it boots up, it's going to be Hive-Linked. So we're leaving, going to another network. This is a different local area network. I was going to put the cellular router out in the outside and use that Mr. Net outside. So it's PoE. So this is going to turn right on. We were going to put it outside, but we can't. We timed it. It takes 60 seconds
A boot of time to see.
to fully connect to the Hive. So by the time we walk back into the studio, there might be 10 seconds left,
Yeah, a little
depending.
delay.
But this camera right here, no latency, 1 Ethernet cable, okay? It's to power the camera, send the video. It's booted up now, and it's already linked to the Hive. So let's go back, and we should be able to control it directly. Now, another thing we learned is that you should have the camera on DHCP mode, because anytime you go and put a camera on another network, you don't know what the range of that network is. So keep it on DHCP mode, and we should be good. Now, all right, so I don't know exactly how much time has passed here. I see this is the Link 4K that's in here. And then the Move 4K is still booting up. It takes about, Mike and I timed it, it's about 60 seconds. So I'm gonna reboot the studio. You can just do Control R to reboot it to see what comes up. And boom, let's just give it a sec. There it is. People are actually going out the door there. And they can see that we're looking at them. Now, one of the things I also noticed is not only do we have full control of this camera, I can also do full control of the color. And so when you're pointing a camera outdoors, you'll see that it's just a lot nicer in automatic mode. You see that? But this is the camera. Literally, that was about 60 seconds. And now we're controlling it remotely. That could be on the other side of the world on any local area network. All right, so here it is. Boom. We're connected to it. So you'll have to trust us that this is a different network, okay? We separate our studio network from our network that is out here in our office. But you can see here, this is coming through the public internet. And essentially, we can go ahead and take a look at the camera. So the IP address is actually a public IP address here. And it's coming in at 6 megabits per second, 1080p at 30 frames a second. This is coming in through the public internet. There's no bridge here connected. And this is how it works. So I'm happy to answer some questions now.
Yeah, I'm curious, people that are watching, how you would use the Hive-Linked firmware. So how would you use it, and where would you send your camera to? Are you going to a remote field? Are you like the fact that you don't need to set up a computer anymore? You can just do it all remotely as long as the cameras are connected to the network. So send us a comment or two and let us know how you would use the Hive-Linked firmware, and let us know if you have any other questions in the meantime.
Okay, so answering some questions. One question's from Livestream Hawaii. Will the Move SE be able to be Hive-Linked anytime in the future? We are hoping so. We found out that it's more challenging with the processing power on the Move SE than the Move 4K. Look, the quickness of innovation that's happening is incredible, and I do think that they're going to be able to compress it down and fit it on more camera models. But with this rollout, we are going to be this week and next, the Move 4K and the Link 4K cameras. They have more processing power on them and more memory for doing the Hive-Linked connections. So currently, with this week and this rollout, it's the Move 4K and the Link 4K. Now, Helgi is asking, will you support the PT12X Gen 2 cameras? So all of the Gen 2 cameras are supported in Hive, but you will need to have a bridge. So meaning you'll need to run the software either on a Mac or a Windows computer in order to control the cameras. So that's another thing to think about. I'm getting a couple people asking if they can control the cameras. So I'm going to go ahead and invite you to control the cameras. And I'm going to actually share access. Mike, if you can share my screen here, I want to show how this works. One of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to share access to anyone who wants access to the Hive. Okay. And to do that, I just click the share button. And I choose access level. So you could be just a viewer, you could be a producer, or you could be an admin. Producer can control the cameras, but they can't invite anyone else. So that's what I'm going to do for you, Orjan. And I'm going to go ahead and hit send invite. And what that does is it sends an invite. You have to accept that invite and create a simple Hive account. Once you log into that account, you can create your own studio, and all the studios that you've been invited to will show up here. So as you can see, I have access to this turtle camera studio that we were looking at earlier. I have access to a courtroom that I was working with, and I have access to several different studios of which I can control these cameras. Turtle didn't come out. I was hoping maybe he would. I don't know where. He must be doing something.
He's taking a bath.
So we'll go back to our Hive-Linked studio here. You can see it takes maybe 5 to 10 seconds to toggle through different studios, but both of these cameras in our Hive-Linked studio are connected over the public internet. Now, once these cameras are connected to the studio, we can start recording. So we can record these video sources locally. We can output them via NDI, so we can do switching in video streaming and production. And then coming very soon, we're really close on this. We're going to be including video switching and streaming directly out of the Hive Studio. Until then, if we wanted this camera right here to stream to YouTube, let's say, we can log into that camera, put that information in, and as soon as it boots up, it will stream to YouTube or Facebook. So, or whatever RTMP destination you have. So you can set this up to stream RTMP directly from the camera, and then use Hive for control of that camera.
So we have some questions about, you recently mentioned the Move SE. So the Move SE, of course, still works with Hive Studio. We are rolling out the Move 4K Hive Link firmware and the Link 4K firmware first on the 12X models this week, and then we'll be releasing them on the 20 and 30X in the next week or so. The Move SE, though, we are not forgetting you guys. We care a lot about the Move SE, and we're working really hard to get a Hive Link. It's just taking a little extra steps, and hopefully we can do that for you in the future. So we'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah, and we understand that there's a lot of demand for that, so we are working as hard as we can. A very affordable Windows PC or Mac PC will help in the interim. You just got to give us a little bit more time. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to. It has to do with the amount of memory on the Move SE, and our engineers are confident that they can make it work. But the Move 4K was so much easier. I shouldn't say it was easy, but it was easier to get done and shipping. And it's still in beta, but that is what we are. That is what we are literally releasing this week for our customers to test.
Check this one out, Paul. They have a 90-kilometer long cross-country ski track with fiber optics every 10 to 15 kilometers. And they're going to use this and hopefully make producing videos easier than ever. So that's really cool. I love hearing about those remote locations. I love the, like, for instance, the turtle view that we were just showing, or the people that set up, eagle cams or in birds' nests when you see online these really cool live streams that people always have.
That is really interesting. We've had a lot of our customers using Hive for several reasons. One thing I want to show really quickly is the very simple Xbox controller setup. So you can control these cameras with an Xbox controller, and you can also control them with a SuperJoy. So I'll just show this really quickly. If you want to go to my screen, Mike, you'll see that I have control of this camera with an Xbox controller. So whatever camera you're connected to, you can control with an Xbox controller. You can also control with an IP joystick. So the Xbox controller is connected right now, but if I want to connect an IP joystick, it will actually create an IP address and port you can put into your SuperJoy or any IP joystick and control the cameras that way as well. So that's a really interesting application. If you want to have access to these Hive-Link cameras to see how easy they are to control, I highly recommend. It looks like we can see here, by the way, I'll just show this little feature of Hive. Every person that joins your Hive, you'll see their status. So you'll see that they're in here. And so I just invited Rajan. Now he's in, and he can control the cameras. So that's perfect. I did get a really cool video from a church that's using Hive that I can play if you want.
Oh, that's interesting.
Up to you, but I do have a quick little video I can play via NDI if you want to. There's like a 2-minute video of a church that's doing some really interesting things with Hive. The other thing that Hive does is it's so easy to use that if you work with volunteers, if you have kind of inexperienced, newer camera operators, it gives them that point and click functionality, which is awesome, but then allows them to get up to those more advanced camera movements and features very easily from any computer, from any laptop. So Mike, let me cut to this video real quick through my NDI output, and you could play that out real quick, because I think it'll be cool. Ready?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, cool. Here we go. It's got audio, so be careful.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, cool. Here we go. It's got audio, so be careful.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Got no. Oh, wait, hold on.
Evaluate
There we
and-
go.
I'm Brad Christian. I'm with Freedom House Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. We recently had the opportunity to evaluate and get our hands on the PTZOptics Hive system. Something unique about Freedom House is that we have live teaching at all of our campuses. So not just here at our broadcast campus, but live teaching in South End at Lake Norman at every single campus. One person cannot support 3 campuses usually. But the interesting thing that the PTZOptics Hive system was able to do is we were able to really open up the doors of possibility in terms of one campus here centrally, or a remote person being able to log in and easily support the camera at South End, the camera at our Lake Norman campus, being able to record, move the camera around, adjust camera settings, track the communicator, all can be done remotely. Many production directors can relate to on a Sunday morning the phone calls you get needing to support campuses with technology that's not firing properly or problems that you're having. So your time is very precious on a Sunday morning. The beauty of the Hive system is being able to open up a web browser no matter where you're at. And that's very important, especially when integrating volunteers. It's so easy to operate the cameras. Everything is laid out super simple. There's not complicated menus to navigate. The video is very clear. The recording settings are clear. The camera controls settings are super simple, very intuitive, and really excellent way of being able to bring volunteers along with you on the journey. I was really surprised at the ease of setup, from the way the software installed to the way the cameras interfaced with the Hive software. The beauty of the PTZOptics system is it auto detects most settings. Everything is very native, talking to each other. Really makes for a super simple setup. Everything was very intuitive, running over a simple Ethernet cable that powered both the camera and sent the video down the line. As soon as I got into the control system, I was shocked at the camera control opportunities that it gave, the way that it has native ways to activate the auto tracking features of the PTZOptics cameras, which really opens up the door to add energy, a better look, and a more rounded video experience. And what I can see with the Hive can really help support and be that bridge builder between being able to capture video in multiple places, or if you just have a limited options when it comes to volunteers, you are really eliminating a lot of things that can hold you back from success when you integrate something like the Hive system, because of the doors of opportunity that it can open.
All right, nice ball.
Right.
Such a cool video. That was awesome. That was a great insight on how you can use it in house of worship locations. I love that. That was very, very unique. And yeah, I mean, the remote use cases, especially if you're thinking of like houses of worship, like how many off-site locations do houses of worship go to? It's a lot. They host a lot of events, and a lot of them are volunteers. So the ability to just send out one camera and say like, hey, Greg, go just plug it into the network. That's all you have to do. Like, we'll worry about it from our location, wherever we may be. It's going to make it so much easier for volunteers and houses of worship.
Yeah. So and then to add to all of this is the cellular bonding piece. So 4G, 5G connectivity, and cellular bonding is really an interesting scenario here. So we brought on to our show Anton from Mr. Net, who has this really cool device. We're using it right now to wirelessly, I shouldn't say wirelessly, because the camera is hardwired to this wireless router, but getting internet directly from this device, and we're using it right now. So let's bring Anton on. I want to ask him a little bit about some of the people that are using this. Hi, Anton.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. I cannot see you, but I can hear you well.
Cool. Well, Anton, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this router and some of the things that you're building. Maybe I can stand up by that router and maybe flip it around. But this router gives internet access to people anywhere in the world, essentially?
Well, right now we focus primarily in North America, but yes, we do have customers all over the world. There is a challenge because it's different networks, different carriers, but short answer is you're right. Pretty much anywhere.
I also noticed, and it could be wrong, but there's 3 SIM cards in this device.
This one, yes, this one has 3 SIM cards. It is Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. All of those are high-priority enterprise subnets, so you're gonna have a priority access in those busy environments when you have too much congestion. So this way, and we spend a lot of time integrating with the carriers. We provide the most latency-sensitive cellular data available on the market, and we can swear by it because over the many years of testing and trying different options, we know that it is that we, as far as like cellular bonding goes, we guarantee that this is going to be the fastest data you can find.
Incredible. Yeah, and this is a small little device. It does require power, and it does not have PoE. So I did have to plug the camera into power because the Ethernet connection does not provide PoE. Is that correct?
Yes, this version of the device can be powered theoretically by PoE, but it does not give PoE out. But there is something in the works which we hoping to bring to the market soon.
Yes, I heard about that, and it sounds very interesting because with this setup, I want to talk through kind of like what it does and what the maybe some of the viewers will have some questions. But essentially, this gives you 10 megabits of upload speed so that you could have 2 or 3 PTZOptics cameras connected to a local area network.
This is not exactly correct. It actually gives you typically much more than 10 megabits. And when you and I, Paul, talked about it, what we learned after doing tens of thousands of events in all different environments, whether it's indoor, outdoor, urban, rural, crowded, desolate, in all of those environments, what we can say is that for you to have 99.9% of success, your load should be under 10 megabits because that's what we can effectively guarantee to have everywhere. That said, on average, it's much more than that. So I think at your studio, I haven't looked at the speeds, but based on the signal strength and the quality of the noise ratios I can see through our portal, you probably getting at least 40 megabits there. But the problem is if you want to scale it as a business case and you want to deploy hundreds of them and you don't want to think every time whether it's going to work or not, that's what we always say to our customers is that try to make sure that your business load is under 10 megabits because this way it's just going to be scalable. You don't need to worry about it. It's just going to work. Everything above that, you need to have a contingency plans because again, there's some environments which are going to be hard to get above that.
Anton, what was like the most unique location that you've seen someone use the Mr. Net, or something to you was like the coolest location that you've seen it used in?
Well, we have one government agency using us to monitor weather patterns and the water level qualities, and they have it in the Great Lakes, in like on the border between US and Canada, like in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
And we basically like the only solution which was able to power it up for them. And it's also battery powered for backups because to send a technician, they need to wait for like 2 weeks for him to arrive. So they made sure that we power compliant with them enough so the battery pack can sustain us for 2 weeks if power goes out there. So that's probably the most extreme use case so far.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really unique. Yeah. I love seeing places that you're never going to be able to see, right? If you were to travel there in person, just being in the middle of an environment like that on the border. Yeah. That's amazing. Let's see. Can Mr. Net Box be remotely connected to? We have a question here in the chat.
Yeah. So is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So absolutely. That's kind of the benefit, the implicit benefit of the way we do things is that, yeah, while it is a bonded cellular, it is as a mechanism of how the bonding is achieved, it requires an internal VPN tunnel. So you connect into our cloud instance, which we typically run in the public clouds, and we use Google and Amazon and Azure, but we also deploy in private clouds if necessary. But by having the cloud instance as your gateway to the internet, you get in the fixed public IP, which then you can use to access if you want to. So by default, firewall cuts all the connections, but if you want to, you can do the port forwarding and you can go behind the gateway and operate directly the equipment behind the gateway. So we have quite a few customers who use it to operate all sorts of different things. If you're talking about the streaming scenario, we have a few customers who like run vmix machine behind our routers, which they connect directly to. And there is some cameras which can do like SRT pools. You can port forwards through for that. There's like a lot of different other applications where it's valuable. But the benefit is that you have this public IP. So no matter which cellular carrier is active, no matter if you have some local internet, if you put a local Comcast or Starlink or whatever else you may have, it's still going to be having the same IP, so you don't need to worry about reconfiguring it every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that the device also comes with like a little USB Wi-Fi enabled device where you can plug it into a computer or another location to kind of use Wi-Fi, or you plug it directly into the Mr. Net to then connect to a computer or another device. I love that use case to provide people with Wi-Fi, even though we always say go hardwired, especially when you're talking about streaming and staying connected and getting the best possible speeds. But it's also a great choice that you guys can connect Wi-Fi devices to the Mr. Net as well. Very smart idea.
So the benefit there is that because unlike some of the more well-known cellular bonded devices in the market, is that it is not dependent on, so it's not a media box, so it doesn't have an encoder in, and it's not designed to just power video. It can be used for any data. So whether in this case we're talking about the live stream and about the camera deployments, but if you just, as you said, if you just need to use your own laptop and you just like, I use it when I travel, hotel internet is hit or miss. And if I need to do some work from my room and hotel internet just not there, I just use my device and my Mr. Net, and it gives me perfect speed so I can do my work. But on average, it just can be used beyond just the typical streaming. It can be done for other internal operations or like any other type of deployment. One note though, we always recommend, and I saw like somebody in the chat mentioned it before as well, that you want to separate what you use for mission critical production network, which is basically your stream, from everything else. So there is no no interference on the network, so you don't use bandwidth for what you don't really care about and take away bandwidth from mission critical stuff.
Anton, we have a really specific question here from Michael. He's asking, can we use Cloudflare Zero Trust instead of using port forwarding?
So short answer is not out of the box. That said, there is a way to do it. So because the way you can push it through is that if you put a firewall behind us, this firewall can do everything as you used to. So you can think of us as a gateway, and it can replace your existing gateway, or it can be supplement to existing gateway, but everything behind the gateway can stay the same. So the easiest way to achieve some sort of more sophisticated deployments is just have everything as you have today and just pass through all the ports from us to you, and then your firewall gonna do everything else. So like we have people who use like pfSense devices to do some sophisticated local network management and firewalls, and all of this can work out of the box without a hitch. We just always kind of our distinct approach to this services, to this market, is that we focus on making the solution as simple and plug and play as possible. So for us, like for me, the point of pride is that we removed more features than we added over the last year, because the whole point is that it should be for you absolutely that simple. You just turn it on, it works, and that's it. And we take care of everything else. So we take care of the pre-configuration, we take care of data provisioning, we take care of the cloud provisioning, we take care of management. We always have live support on call. So if you have a stream at 8 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and you have some sort of hiccups, you always can reach out to us. We respond within a minute, and we can help you out, remote diagnose, and potentially give you some advices, some suggestions, what you can improve. And most of the time, our investigation result that something is going on the customer side, whether it's some configuration on the encoder is off, or maybe it's like often we have an issue when people try to do stream from their laptops, is that their laptops have like some cloud storage syncing up, and they start like uploading 20 gigabytes of video footage, and then like why they don't have enough bandwidth. So ultimately the idea here, coming back to your question, is that we strive to make it as simple as possible. And so we, by intention, add in as little features as possible natively to our solution, which we can deploy in complicated scenarios, and we can handhold you throughout this process, and we can actually pre-configure it manually for you. But the ultimate goal is to think that internet access is taken care of and it just works. So you don't need to ever worry about it. And if you have any complex scenarios behind us for some complicated local network deployments for that, you're much better off using what you already use and instead of learning new systems. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel in the market, which done it very well without us.
Awesome. And that was my experience. We plugged it in. There's 2 ports on the front. There's a LAN port and a WAN port. The LAN port is for your cameras. The WAN port is for connecting another router to this so that you can also have like kind of a backup failover that's more resilient. Okay, it is time for our giveaway. And so I just shared the link in the chat. I'm going to share it one more time. And we're going to do, and I'd love for you to join us with this, Anton, to see how good your PTZOptics knowledge is. And then the winner will get a Hive Studio subscription. So let's jump into this. I've got it here on my computer. I'm going to give, let's see, can you show an example of color matching through Hive? All right, B-Rams, we'll do that real quick before we start. So one of the things with color matching in Hive is that you have the ability to create color presets. So Mike, if you just want to share my screen here.
Hey,
I'm
Paul.
going to, yes?
I've lost your NDI feed from your piece.
Got it.
It just came back. Thank you.
Got it. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to jump into, so this is going to be a tough, these 2 cameras are in 2 different locations. So the cool thing about Hive-Linked is you could have a camera in London, you can have a camera in Singapore, all in one studio. But for color matching, we're usually talking about cameras that are in the same studio. So I'm going to switch over to this view here. And what I'll do is, let's say that I've got 2 cameras on the same thing, and we want the colors to match, which is usually what color matching is all about. So I'm going to zoom this camera into this Mr. Net router and get 2 side by side here. Pretty sure, yeah, you can actually take the 2 cameras that you want and get them side by side. So let's do that. Put them side by side here. There we go. So these are the 2 cameras that I want to do side by side color matching for. And I can tell that this one is a little redder than the other, John. See
Yeah,
that?
definitely. More contrasty.
So these 2 in. This is definitely a very red item. All right. So I'm going to go to the image side, and I'm just going to save a preset of where I'm at now, because you can set presets on the color. So you could have one color preset. You could have one color, let's call it color preset, that has everything you need for candlelight service, and then another color lights for daylight, one for darker. But I'm going to increase the red here because I think this needs to be a little redder. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it does. And maybe do the color temperature a little bit. I'm not the best with color correction, so that's one of my issues, but I think this is a contrast. Yep, getting the contrast up a little. I'm going to adjust, see the color hue. There we go. Not quite right, but getting closer though to it. Can you tell, John?
Yeah.
Not that way. Go that way.
Yeah, definitely getting closer. A little saturated.
Okay, I'm gonna. Contrast is okay. I think it's. Ooh, getting closer. All right. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
There you go.
All right, so that's getting closer. So I'm going to create another preset, and you can name these. So let's say, color corrected. So now we can look at where we started, which was here, okay? And this was the color correction that we applied. Not too bad. We might need to go into this one and take a peek at the settings here. So we've got the white balance sensitivity at low. Let's do, okay. So this one has a color temperature gain of 1. Ah, okay, I see. Oh, look at that. Getting closer. Color temperature. So that was a 5400. All right. And so you can kind of go back and forth on these and make sure that they have similar settings until you get them to where you want. So getting closer. Or he was 7.
Solara asked about one-touch click color matching. Not yet. We are working on the ability to copy your color settings like the way he created presets and then apply that preset to another camera source. So we're working on that. Just requires a lot of working with other camera manufacturers and getting the drivers correct so we can mix and match colors between cameras. So right now it's done manually in the way Paul's showing it, but in the future you'll have that one-click touch as well.
Yeah, I am excited for that. All right, let's jump into our giveaway. So you can scan this QR code or go to crowd.live and type in RU6ZF, and we're going to go ahead and do our trivia. Anton, you're going to be in part of this, right?
Deal.
All right, cool. I want to see how good you know this stuff. All right, it's time to get started. Okay. So we're going to do a countdown. Let's pause that real quick just to give everybody a second to get in here. I'm going to pause this before we go, but basically the first question is, what does it mean when a PTZOptics camera is Hive-Linked? Here we go. Is it pre-configured to connect to Hive Studio for instant remote control? It must be manually added to the Hive network every time it's used, or it requires a physical connection to control the device at all times. And I have the ability to show the live results. We haven't gotten any answers. I might have not given people enough time. Oh, we got one answer, and it's the correct one. I wonder if I gave people enough time to get in.
Yeah, I wonder.
There is a delay on the YouTube, so you got a little bit rushed. So the one answer is from me.
Because you're in Zoom. Oh. All right, there was supposed to be a countdown timer.
Yeah, usually when it goes in the beginning, yeah.
That might have been something that we need to check. But let's give everybody a second here before we go on to the next one. I think there's about a 1-minute delay, so let's give everybody a second here to get in.
Use that QR code at the bottom to scan to join.
All right. On to the next one.
Question number 2.
Which of the following is not a feature of Hive Studio? Creates a Wi-Fi signal from your camera, integrated camera control and color correction, recording within the platform. Ooh. That's a good one. Let's see.
We gotta get some like Jeopardy music for this.
I know. Mike, we need some background music. Well, we're pretty sure it is create a Wi-Fi signal for your camera. Nice. Okay. Anton, you're in first place.
Uh-oh.
Well, it was not fair, but I'm glad I win.
You got to get the next one wrong on purpose. Followed by G. J. George and Joe Phillips, Mike G., Mark Hartman, Katie Kelly, Don Durant, and Mark Tulos. Then Art Young. Right. All right. Oh, he's got
some background music. I hear. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, this is smooth.
Here we go.
Can you put a new link in the chat for everyone?
Yep. What is the main advantage of Hive-Linked PTZOptics cameras? Unlimited recording time, instant camera control after a one-time link, built-in video editing tools. This is good. All right. Going to paste this into the chat one more time. Mark is asking, I have a SuperJoy. I want to control local and Hive cameras connected. Is that possible? Yes, it is. You can control the cameras with Hive. You just go to the controllers section and you go ahead and click IP controller. And what it does is you can have as many IP controllers as you want. It gives you an IP address and a port number. You just pop that into your SuperJoy and you can control them. All right.
Ooh.
The correct answer is instant camera control after a one time. That is correct. After linking a camera to Hive, what is required to reconnect it later? Reinstallation of Hive Studio. Nothing. It connects automatically without a local computer or manual network configuration. Well, I think we proved that in today's live show.
Yeah, we might have. Yeah, we might have showed it live.
100% of people have the right answer here.
Great
Nothing.
job.
After linking your camera to Hive, you can unplug it, ship it somewhere, and it will immediately connect to Hive. Beautiful. Okay. Anton, you were supposed to get one wrong. It's not fair.
I'm sorry. Cannot make myself to make a mistake.
Gotta let Mark Hartman win this Hive-Linked. We'll see.
Is I catching up?
They are. They're catching up to you. How often does a user need to set up a PTZOptics Hive Link camera? Every time it's turned on, once per week, or just once during the initial setup?
Is it once per week?
It might be. Everybody got this one right. Just once during the initial setup. Right. Anton!
I will donate my winning if I'm going ahead. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh.
Charity of your choice. Oh.
Skewing the numbers here.
But you have, all right. Which of the following is not a benefit of Hive Link functionality? Automatically starts recording, effortless camera reconnection, or no need for additional hardware?
What could it be?
Automatically starts recording.
That's
That's not a benefit. Oh, that's correct.
is not. Yeah.
Thank you, Anton.
You're welcome.
Anton, finally.
Now Mark Hartman and Joe Phillips can take the lead. And it's very close, too.
All right, Joe. Can you
right.
catch up?
Here we go. And the correct answer is automatically starts recording. Okay, next question. How many types of cameras does Hive Studio support? Only PTZOptics cameras? Up to 100? Or over 400, including DSLRs and webcams?
Oh, they're saying you wrote the questions now, Anton. They're saying
Conspiracies.
all the conspiracies are coming out. That's right.
Let's see the leaderboard. Anton comes up again. What's going on here, Anton? The correct answer is over 400 cameras, including DSLRs and webcams. Anton jumps ahead.
Oh, no.
Mark Hartman, still pretty close. Let's see. What types of collaboration roles are supported in Hive Studio? Only admins and viewers, admin, producer, and viewer, producer, and technical director only.
Anton, Drake said that you should pick the answer before you see the question.
Deal. It's actually a good idea.
Anton's still
It's gonna be
winning.
10 questions.
Goodness, Anton.
Yes,
Let it go.
it's 10 questions.
Okay, next two so 9 question. I'm gonna answer C.
Oh,
We'll see
no.
about that. We'll see about that. Okay. Next one is which software integration is most relevant to Hive Studio
Yep.
workflows?
Anton's
it's
giving
It's
right.
us-
Excel.
it's
OBS
Excel.
and vmix works?
For organization purposes, Excel.
Anton, you're off the leaderboard now. Completely. Mark Hartman coming in. Yes, OBS can connect via NVI. How does Hive Studio support remote collaboration? By offering real-time access to video feeds? By syncing email calendars? By enabling team chat?
Which one is it?
Mark. coming in
Congrats.
hot by offering real-time access.
Great job.
All right. The winners are Mark. I think it goes third place first. Katie Kelly, congratulations.
Nice job, Katie.
Katie knows her stuff. John McLaughlin, also a PTZOptics superstar, but Mark Hartman in first place. Congratulations, Mark.
Congrats, Mark.
Email me at paul@ptzoptics.com and I'll send you your code for PTZOptics Hive. That's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for being part of this live stream. I hope you're excited as much as we are about Hive-Linked firmware. Get into the beta group and get it for your Move 4K, Link 4K cameras. And yes, we will be continuing to push our engineers to get it on the Move SE. So stay tuned. We're really looking forward to all the new things that Hive has to offer.
Thank you so much, Paul. And we'll see you guys at the end of every month on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Thank you, guys.
See you next month.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Anton.